Hello friends, myself Niyati Chauhan, Assistant Professor at LG Institute of Engineering and Technology, Department of Instrumentation and Control. Our subject is Environmental Instrumentation. In this subject, we have started Unit 3, Sedimentation and Flotation. So let's start. We know that what is sedimentation. Sedimentation is one type of process. In this process, particles are settled down at bottom side. So you can see in diagram randomly here movement particles in water, and these particles are settled down at bottom side. We know that types of sedimentation. There are two types of sedimentation. Number one, plain sedimentation, and number two, sedimentation with coagulation. So in last lecture, we have discussed about plain sedimentation and sedimentation with coagulation. In plain sedimentation that is a simple sedimentation. In this sedimentation, all particles are settled down at bottom side and easily settled down. We have not want to add any coagulant. Next, sedimentation with coagulation. In sedimentation with coagulation, we have to add coagulant. Okay, so first you have to know about what is coagulation. Finely divided like silica, clay, do not settle down easily and hence cannot be removed by sedimentation. So silica, clays are negatively charged and low weighted. So this type of impurities are removed by coagulation method. When aluminum sulfate is added in water, then positive and negative charge make bond and we get aluminum hydroxide. Okay, so this process is known as sedimentation with coagulation. In this diagram, you can see in raw water we are adding coagulant, right? After process we get treated water, okay, and waste can be taken outside. So this is a diagram of sedimentation with coagulation. Types of settling. There are four types of settling. Number one, discrete settling, then fluctuant settling, hindered settling, and last compression. Okay, so you can see in diagram here, top side clear water is shown, and then after next layer is discrete particles. Okay, then after fluctuant, then hindered, and after compressed. So type 1. So discrete particle settling, that means particles settle individually without interaction with neighboring particles. Okay, sometimes in MCQ can be asked, okay, blank, then after particles settle individually without interaction with neighboring particles. So answer will be discrete particle settling. Type 2. Type 2, fluctuant particles. Fluctuation caused the particles to increase in mass and settle at a faster rate. Okay, so this is known as fluctuant particles. And hindered particle settling. Sometimes hindered particles known as John settling. The mass of particles tends to settle as unit with individual particles remaining in fixed position with respect to each other. So this is known as hindered or John settling. Okay, remember that in MCQ can be asked blank, then after mass of particles tends to settle as a unit with individual particle remaining a fixed position with respect to each other. Then answer will be hindered settling. Okay. Next is compression. So in compression, particles is so high that sedimentation can only occur through compression of the structure. Okay. So in compression zone, you can see in diagram at last layer. Okay, there is a one type of structure become at last layer, and in hinder they settle down with fixed position. Okay, and at fluctuant the rate is very fast for settle down. Okay, next. So here settling phenomena. Settling particles depend on four factors. Number one, size, then shape, then specific gravity, and fall velocity. So, size. So, particles size is also depend with sedimentation process at settling time. Shape. Shape of particles is also depend with sedimentation with settling time, then specific gravity, and at last fall velocity. Okay, so four factors depend on settling phenomena. Okay, so remember that. MCQ. The amount of coagulant needed for coagulation of water increase with. So question is that how much coagulant needed for coagulation of water, and it increase with. First option is increase in turbidity and temperature of water. Second, decrease in turbidity of water. Then decrease in temperature of water. And fourth option, increase turbidity and decrease temperature of water. First you have to know about turbidity. Okay, so in chapter 2 I have discussed turbidity. Turbidity is an optical measurement that indicates the presence of suspended particles. Okay, so here answer will be increase in turbidity and decrease temperature of water. Okay, so let's see syllabus. So in EI we have completed chapter 1, chapter 2 quality of water, chapter 3 sedimentation and flotation. Okay, this chapter is continued. So you know that in first chapter some basic instruments and sensors we have studied about sensors and instruments, and in chapter 2 we have discussed about quality of water and how to improve quality of water, and in chapter 3 sedimentation. Okay, what is sedimentation, types of sedimentation, settling process. Okay, and also we will discuss about some basic design criteria of tank, right, and how to improve sedimentation process. Okay, chapter 4 and chapter 5 regarding to air pollution. So earlier I have discussed with you in environmental instrumentation we will study about air pollution and water pollution. And I have discussed about water pollution. Okay. And next session we will discuss about design criteria of settling tank, effect of temperature on coagulant, right? So these topics we will discuss in next session. And then after I will start unit 4 and unit. Okay, see your question bank. Chapter 3, Sedimentation and Floating. So some of questions we have studied. Sometimes in short question, definition of sedimentation can be asked, right? Then stroke law, then design criteria for settling tank, right? Steel tape. So in 1 mark, short question can be asked. See question 2. Explain stroke law. Okay. So in this question, you have to write down about stroke law, and also you have to write down factors affecting on particles. Right. Question 3. What is sedimentation? Explain different types of sedimentation in details. There are two types of sedimentation. Number 1, plain sedimentation. Number 2, sedimentation with coagulation. Question 4. Explain settling of discrete particles with equation. Okay. So we have a derived velocity equation. Okay. We have a derived settling velocity equation in last to last session. Okay. Question 5. Design criteria for settling tank. So remaining topic I will discuss in next sessions. Okay. Okay. So in unit 3 I have discussed about sedimentation, right? If you have any query regarding sedimentation, okay, and settling velocity equations, stroke law, then you can ask me. Thank you for watching video.